Hi everyone, this is William Beam from the Aperture vs. Lightroom blog. Welcome to video part 3 of our look at Aperture's books. Today we're going to take a look at books that are using maps inside of the Aperture books. So let's go ahead and get Aperture started up here and cover this little section briefly. We've been looking at some of my Disney photos in the previous video, so I'm going to start off here, but we're going to probably jump to something else. And that's because there's I want to highlight a little bit of a problem, I think, with Apple's maps in the books. Well, at least it's a problem from my point of view, but maybe not from yours. I'll let you decide. As with any other kind of book project, the first thing you're going to want to do is select and organize the photos that you're going to put into the book. Since I'm doing this one with maps, what I want to do is come over here and choose. I use color labels to help me decide which photos I'm going to do. And the other one is I want to make sure I'm selecting photos that have GPS information. The easiest way for me to do that is I go to an EXIF rule. I select latitude. You can select longitude if you like. And I just say is not empty. And there you go. These are the photos I have in this Disney project that have latitude information in it, so I know that these can show up on a map someplace. If you don't have GPS information embedded inside of your photographs already, that's not a problem. Let me clear this out. And we can go ahead and just select this photo, for example, and go over to Places. You can bring up the map, and you can look for something. So this particular photo, I think, was taken in Epcot. So let's just search for that. Let's see if Aperture understands it. Yes, it does. So let's say Epcot theme park. It scared me for a moment. I thought it was going to be right in the middle of the ocean. Okay, so you can go ahead and search for whatever location that you're going to have. And you can see these are the photos I've got, these little pins that are showing. I've got 29 photos that were taken in that particular spot and just a couple of places like that. If you want, you can just simply take your photograph and drag it. It's giving me a little bit of a fit right here. And I don't know if you can see it. There's a little red pin where I'm dragging this around. I'm going to take it outside of that area and move it over here. So you can see there's a little outline of the photograph and a red pin showing up. And that's exactly where it's going to drop. I've got room that I can zoom in a little bit more, but I'm just going to go ahead and put this one, I think, over here in the parking lot. And I let go, and there you go. This photo now believes he's over here in the parking lot, so it now has GPS data. And if you want to, another way to look at it to be sure is you can go over your Info tab and select your photo. I've got latitude and longitude set on my default general view. I don't think that happens that way from Aperture by default, but there is a GPS preset down here for your view. So if you select that, it'll show you if this has got information in it, you're good. If not, then you need to go ahead and drag it on the map or find some way to put in the latitude and longitude information before you bring it into your books. So let's close that out. I'm going to go back over here to my grid view. And once again, I'm going to select the color labels. The green and the blue are the ones that I've got finished and like. And I'll select my EXIF is not empty. And that chooses. And I was sitting here looking for the photo that I just selected, and I realized it's not going to show up here because I did not assign a color code to it. So it's not just the GPS information on this particular view. It's also GPS, and I've assigned the color as either green or blue. So anyways, enough of that. What I can do now is I can just simply select. I'll hit Command A to select all these photos. We'll go over here to New and select a book. So let's give this a title. I'm just going to call it Disney Maps. And remember, not all of these books have layouts that support maps. So for example, Art Collection doesn't, Formal doesn't. Basically, you can use Journal or Photo Essay. You can see in the previews that they'll show maps of some kind over there. I'm going to select Journal. Also, as with others, you can choose whatever size you want. I'm going to just leave it at extra large. I'll choose this theme. And there we are in our new Disney Maps book. All of the photos we selected are showing up down here at the bottom for us to place in this book. And I just want to give you a little reminder that everything that we talked about in the previous two videos still applies here. You can still edit your content. You can still edit your layout. For example, if we want to come down here to this full-up page, we can choose different types of pages. If we want to go to Edit Layout, we can hit the plus button and select these different types of boxes. We've gone over most of these. The only one we didn't go over was a map box. So that's really all it is. It puts a map of intelligence in there. You've got bounding boxes. You can stretch and drag this the way you want to. I'll just hit Command Z to undo this and go back the way we were. So you can put a map down there. You can put a photo box on top of it. You can put a text box on top of it. All the same features from the previous videos are here with the addition of the maps function. So what does it look like? Let's select this one over here. You can see it starts off with a default map, and these little frames over here are going to be where we can toss our photos that will display on the map itself. So let's take this photograph over here, and actually since that one's more of a portrait format, let me grab this one. And there you go. It recognizes that this was taken in Florida. It knows that the location was Magic Kingdom. Let me double click on the map, and it brings up this map options book. So you can see places, Magic Kingdom. It's getting that information from the GPS information. You can change the title if you want to, and you can also zoom in and out. Now, this is the part I mentioned earlier in the video that to me is a little bit of a problem. So for example, if you want to zoom in, that is as far as you can zoom in, which is what, maybe, I'm roughly guessing, like a 100-mile radius of Florida around here. So if you wanted to zoom in tighter, for example, the Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Disney's Hollywood Studios, and so forth, and see the lines between them, it's not really going to let you. This is as much as you can zoom in. So if we take, well, I haven't tried this, but let's see what happens. If I take this and drop it over here, okay, good. So this page will also show up on that map. You can see Magic Kingdom, you can see Disney's Hollywood Studios, and you see it added another name over here. You can click on the little gear icon, and you've got a few options. These right here in the second set are, you can select to show it's hiding any lines between them, or you can show lines with arrowheads, and that'll show travel between one photo location and another. Since they're not showing much here simply because you cannot zoom in very far. So that is a bit of a frustration I've got. You can change that to straight lines, and again, if I could zoom into a box, just roughly about this much, it would give me a bit more of a view of what I wanted to see on a map. So if you're taking or building a map book for a vacation that you took or a trip that you took just in one general area and you want to show that out, sadly, Apple's map books are not really going to give you much more of a view than this. So that means that you're going to end up needing to use, if you want to get a map book that's going to show you a bit more, you need a more variety or distance in between your subjects. So I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to switch to a different library. I've got a travel library with a number of locations that have GPS information. We'll see what we can get out of that and how they end up looking on the map book. All right, so I'm going to just select photos here, and we'll do the same thing with the browser. I'm going to color code, so green and blue. I'm going to select EXIF, where latitude in this case is not empty. Okay, I've got a few different places here. Let me select all of these, and we're going to build a new book out of this. Let's see, we'll just call this travel. And we'll go back to journal again, choose the theme. Now let's go down here and see what we can have a little fun with it. So this photograph was taken in Las Vegas. This photograph was taken in Captiva, Florida. And now you can see there's a dot over here and a dot over here. So we can double click this, and when we start changing our zooming around, we can get a little bit more of a view of what we want to do. We can grab the map and center it if we want to. And when I click this line, if I show lines with arrowheads, now suddenly you've got a little bit of a distance between the two of them. So let's grab another photograph. So this one is the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. So you can see it automatically added a line going over there, and it's labeling all these. It's kind of a nice way to show a bit more of a grand vacation period. Let's drop this over here. And you can see that the arrows are going in the order that I've dropped the maps, not necessarily the order that we see things over here. So that might give you a little bit something else to do. So in this case, it looks like I've gone from Las Vegas to Captiva, Florida, to Washington, D.C., up to Utah, and this is Zion National Park. Let's see if I have any other locations in here for this particular library. More Las Vegas. And this one is in Arlington, Virginia. So right back over there again. We're getting a lot of popularity in the D.C. area. And I don't think I've got any of my New York photos in here. So we're probably going to see that's probably about the end of what we're going to... Ah, well, there's one more here. Let's take this Oak Avenue. This is in just outside of Savannah, Georgia. And this one will go back down to Fort Myers, Florida. That's really what you get out of your maps in Aperture Books. If this works for you, that's great. It's something that you can use, and you can try to zoom in and out. You can add labels over here. We can change those to straight lines or just hide the lines completely. And you can show the region text, or you can turn it off. And one of the reasons you may want to turn it off, you see where the labels that we have in here on the map options are showing up next to our photographs. The problem would be over here in a case like this, where some of the locations on a map this large are blending together, and you can't really see what one means over the other. So if we zoom in and scroll over a little bit, those are, yeah, even at that, since they're parallel, they're still winding up on each other. So the good news is you have maps. The bad news is it can be a little bit of tricky or frustrating depending upon your temperament as far as working with them. Overall, how does it look? You can still go ahead and make your book layouts with mostly photo pages, as we would see here. You know, if you still do your one-up pages or two-up pages, you can still scroll these however you want. This one probably would be better if we did this as a two-up page, which doesn't seem to be in here. I'd have to build another one. All right, so I'm not going to go back and do that since we've covered that in the previous video. But that is the essence of maps inside of Aperture. Is it something you want or not? It might depend. If you've got a region that's maybe within a few states and you want to show some travel, so for example, all these three photos, if they were taken in the same Virginia, West Virginia, North Carolina region, it might make sense. And then you'd have a different page where you'd use something similar, or maybe would come down here and show a different layout like this. And we'll drag that photo over here just for the fun of it. You can see a little bit more of a way of breaking up your book to have the map show different geographical regions. It really is a matter of taste of whether this works for you or not. It's nice that the feature is there. I just wish that we could zoom in on the maps a little bit more to show some regions kind of at the level that, at least for myself, I would like. So if I'm exploring Fort Myers, Sanibel, Captiva area, I really want to zoom in, you know, maybe within a 25-mile radius rather than a 100-mile radius or so. That is it for Aperture Books. The next section we're going to take a look at will deal with Lightroom, and then we'll follow up with a comparison about the things we like and dislike about both. Once again, my name is William Beam. Thank you for visiting ApertureVersusLightroom.com.